Welcome to Anti-Christianity 101, where today we're going to examine David Hocking's The 7 Laws of Christian Leadership, subtitled How to Inspire People to Follow When You Are Called to Lead. At the time he wrote this, he was the senior pastor of Calvary Church of Santa Ana and a radio minister, Southern California radio evangelist. And looking for the year of publication, originally 1979, looks like the second edition in 1991. That's what this one is. So that might have been him maybe about 34 years ago, right? Something like that. He does have some sermons floating around on YouTube. I kind of listened to one about adding or amending the Bible, and I thought it was kind of filled with irony because, he prefers the King James Version, right? That is an adding or amending of the Bible. Deletion of some notable books in there, a shortening of Daniel, among other things. So, anyway, this is obviously not going to have the imprimatur from a Catholic doctrinal perspective. And, as I read through it, I had a couple of doctrinal qualms, but overall felt that it's possibly a very useful book with some cross applications to your family management or business management, or maybe just getting along in an organization. So the way he has divided this is into seven sections, right? And he calls them laws, and he has a few chapters dedicated to each law. Laws. First law is example. Law 2, communication. Law 3, ability. Law 4, motivation. Law 5, authority. Law 6, strategy. And Law 7, love. And he touches on different aspects of each. Brings the Bible into it, and he gets... what's kind of neat is that there are times when he gets into maybe just deep religious philosophy as opposed to just applied management. So it's kind of cool. But it's definitely targeted toward leaders in churches, leaders with Christian groups, whether you're an administrator or, a leader. And actually he differentiates between administration and leadership. They are intertwined, but they're different. You need them all. But he really kind of breaks it down really well for those who do that kind of thing. But I can see many applications to just basic training in corporate communications in general too. So the law, one example is that people need to be able to depend on your leadership. So, basically, while recognizing that the nature of all men and women, right, is depravity, we should not be living depraved lives. We should be trying not to, and we should be, helping each other in that. To be leaders, you've also got to show the example that you've also made some progress in that too, right? In repressing that depravity, or perhaps a better word is channeling that depravity towards something positive and something that would bless God, right? So. Law 2 is communication, the idea that people need to know what you're saying, and that you have to communicate with people, everyone. People at different ranks and levels and so forth. You have to understand what goes into motivating people to listen right? So there's quite a bit about empathy in there. And then kind of reminds us about action speaking louder than words, reminds us of the examples, to set an example. Again, that's important. Ability is really, you need to be capable. You got to be capable of leading people, right? And kind of has some stuff in here for kind of assessing whether you are capable or how you can enhance those capabilities. A really good chapter on women in leadership roles in the church, and that is the one area where I had a doctrinal qualm. You know, Hocking is claiming that by the word woman in the New Testament in 1 Timothy, you know, where woman should not speak in church, that it really only applies to wives, right? So he's I don't know. But then again, it's like he's trying to kind of, I don't know, make it sound less harsh. Maybe it's a recruitment idea, you know. Maybe you'll like our church a little better here at Calvary Chapel, perhaps, you know, because, you know, we'll let women talk in church. I don't know. Personally, I've left churches because they let women get up on the altar and talk. It's just me, you know. I'm old school that way. Anyway, so that's a caveat when you read any book that does not have the nihil obstat or the imprimatur. It is not going to be aligned with the doctrine of the church. Just remember that. It will, in this case, there seems to be some good intentions and careful consideration to the thought behind this, but there are some things that are biblically wrong in here. Law 4, motivation. You need to know why you want to be a leader. It's kind of like knowing yourself, right? And also kind of like, you know, not being reckless with yourself, taking care of your temple, right? But knowing what you want and that's your motivation. You need to know why do you want to do this? Why do you want to lead a church group, right? And that's really a valid question in this era of pedophiles and other creepy people running religious organizations. Law 5, authority. People need to respond to your leadership. So I thought that, in my opinion, the authority, Law 5 authority was the most beautifully explicated chapter. It really helps us understand that, you know, where we get our authority from. You know, men, we get our authority from Christ, right? And we delegate that down to our wives who submit to us. That's the way it is, the way it always has been, right? That law predates everything. And Hocking cleverly, you know, uses scripture and explanation to make this really clear. So the chapter on authority is particularly good in this book. Law 6, strategy. You need to know where you are going. Good leaders have a strategy. How to, yeah, all that is good. That is total corporate applications, right? It was a particularly good one, and he was talking about, you know, analyzing things that, you know, projects after the fact, right? You know, when I was years ago, I was at a Silicon Valley firm, and we called it a post-mortem, right? After any Apple special event, we would have a post-mortem to see what went wrong with that meeting, right? Did the sound system work well? What was wrong? You know, if there was anything wrong with the sound system, right? Did you know, was the timing perfect? Things like that. So you always got to look at things afterward and see what went right, what went wrong. How you can fine tune it to keep your team performing well at whatever ministry it is that you're performing in your church. And then Law 7, love. You need to care for the people around you, right? So it talks a lot about checking ourselves. How do we project ourselves? Do we show ourselves as giving, you know, caring for our fellow man? So all in all, it's a pretty good book here. David Hocking, 7 Laws of Christian Leadership. Great for giving you ideas about how to manage yourself, how to manage others, how to work with others, and how to submit to authority. Have a great, blessed day.